The tale opens on a pleasant, tranquil morning as the main character, Xenos, is woken up by an elf friend named Lily, who clearly didn't get the memo about letting the sleeping dogs lie. The kingdom of Herzith, a nation with origins deeply connected to healers, has flourished due to their contributions, achieving a position of substantial influence. However, residing in an isolated part of the kingdom is someone who lacks formal schooling and does not possess a license to practice healing, who is Xenos, operating with the formal schooling of a particularly smart barn cat. An urgent house call is received, prompting Xenos to vanish like a phantom limb, leaving Lily behind, who is currently preparing a meal. Carmilla, a ghost who clearly didn't get the memo about being non-corporeal, arrives unexpectedly, intending to share the dinner being prepared. Shortly after, a girl named Zofia arrives, asking for Xenos, and decides to wait until the return. Showing up early was an attempt to secure some private time. She was trying to be the early bird that gets the worm, only to find the worm gone. Just then, another girl, Linga, appears. She also discovers Xenos is not home. Linga, however, also settles down to wait. The two exchange glances of rivalry so sharp they could cut glass. Just then, a third person arrives to see Xenos. This is Loe. Lily permits an entry to wait inside with the other girls. Lily asks all three girls if they would like to join in eating the meal once Xenos returns home. All three express a willingness to eat with Lily and Xenos. Placing the pot on the heat, Lily steps outside to tend to the laundry, requesting that the cooking be kept an eye on, which was like asking a pack of wolves to guard a rack of ribs. The three girls cannot resist and approach the pot to sample what is being cooked. As soon as a taste is taken for quality checking, the incredible flavor hits them with the force of a runaway cart. In the end, the three girls manage to consume the entire meal. One by one, they start to blame each other. Eventually, a collective decision is reached. Making another meal is necessary, so they begin to refill the pot with ingredients. Suddenly, Lily walks in, as innocent as a freshly washed lamb, completely unaware of what has occurred. All three sit at the table, attempting to clarify the situation. The inability to articulate exactly what transpired causes Lily's face to go from placid to a thunderstorm brewing in the tropics, controlling the anger with a smile that felt like a trap closing. They confess that the food was simply irresistible, smelling divine. All begin to anticipate Lily's reaction. Linga then voices a desire for Xenos to rub a tail, as is customary. A heated argument begins over who Xenos should attend to first. Completely missing the Lily is silently plotting homicide vibe. A fight is about to start, but Lily intervenes, warning that Xenos would be upset if any fighting were to occur. The three offer sincere apologies to Lily and promise to remake the dish they finished. Just then, Carmilla makes an appearance, having hoped to eat the stew Lily prepared, only to discover the pot was as empty as a politician's promise. Carmilla announces an intention to find out what a soul flavored with stew tastes like, causing the three to start apologizing profusely, tripping over themselves like toddlers. Lily instructs them to fetch more ingredients. With that settled, they all depart to gather the necessary items. As they leave, Carmilla notices that Lily does not appear as angry as expected. Lily, however, regards self as an adult and believes that becoming angry is not an effective way to solve any issue. It's about as helpful as trying to herd cats with a rubber band. Meanwhile, Xenos is on the way home when a girl is encountered being stopped by a man who demands to know where the girl went. The man is Forbes, and the girl, Till, had just been to the hospital because of a stomachache but was refused treatment due to a lack of money. Forbes drags her along, while Xenos observes silently. The man begins kicking her. Till is already in pain, yet the torture continues. Suddenly, Till slashes Forbes with a paw. The attack is completely unexpected, like a tax refund. Forbes flees with the wound, encountering Xenos along the way and blurting out that the slave has gone mad and started attacking. Xenos is skeptical of the claims. In the meantime, Till approaches, filled with rage like a broken microwave. Xenos questions Forbes about the activities in the area. Forbes requests to be taken to the hospital, promising to cover the cost. Just then, Till lunges at Forbes again. Xenos saves Forbes by pulling him aside faster than a politician changing their stance. Till then begins attacking Xenos. All of Till's attacks are dodged. Xenos was moving like a champion matador. Till is fast, quicker than an average demi-human should be. Xenos continues to evade every attack. Suddenly, she crashes into a nearby building, causing significant destruction. She went through it with the subtlety of a bull in a china shop. Till is lying on the ground. Xenos approaches and promises a quick restoration, urging a calming down. Till is covered in wounds and injuries but has run out of stamina. As soon as he places a hand on Till's head, the entity possessing her body departs. She closes her eyes and collapses to the ground. Xenos wonders what sort of farming results in ghost possession. The broken leg of Till is healed instantly. Forbes, nursing wounds, pleads with Xenos, but Xenos refuses to heal, but eventually Xenos agrees to treat the wounds of Forbes today, but only for an additional fee. Forbes offers all the money and possession, but Xenos deems it nowhere near sufficient to cover the cost. Forbes is taken aback, questioning whether Xenos truly believes a healer can defraud someone with such extravagant costs. Xenos operates as an underground, unlicensed healer, a practice likened to an underworld gig, specifically to grave robbing. Regardless, a decision is made to take Till to make up the difference in payment. A deal is struck with Forbes. After providing treatment, Xenos takes Till along. Till awakens moments later and learns of the new ownership. Xenos shows the contract, after which he requests the removal of clothes to ensure good physical condition. Till undresses. Xenos identifies a gallstone obstructing the bile duct, causing inflammation. The treatment begins immediately. Xenos performs an incision, removes the stone, and closes the patient up again without any incantation or magic circle, leaving no trace of an opening. Till is astonished that any healer could manage such a feat, noting it is far from normal. However, Xenos makes it clear that thanks are not needed. Instead, an equal price is required, meaning it is time for Till to get to work. Till agrees to repay the debt by serving as a slave. A request is made to be shown the location of a particular type of leaf. Till leads the way to where the leaves can be found. Xenos thanks Till for the guidance, although Till seemed to expect a parade and a marching band. The leaves were located, which would have been impossible to find alone. With all debts settled, freedom is granted. Till becomes emotional upon being set free, as it has always felt like an impossible dream. Uncertainty remains about future plans, but since the status as a slave is gone, Xenos asks Till to visit if any injuries ever occur. With that agreement, the return home begins. Lily informs Xenos that dinner is not yet ready. The three girls are seen holding an abundance of ingredients for the dish, looking like they raided a farmer's market. Lily is delighted to see that vegetables, fish, and a small mountain of meat were brought back and is excited to make the most of the bounty. Lily is able to prepare a substantial amount of food, but noticing Xenos seems a bit fatigued, the decision is made to brew some black tea first. In the past, Xenos received a single gold coin as a reward for services rendered. Xenos recalls a time in childhood when his party members all declared him a friend, but then his fellows referred to him as nothing more than their livestock, which is a terrible thank you gift. One of the friends, named Aston, informs Xenos that the party must now present a favorable image to the aristocracy and royalty, and an association with some psalm from the slums can no longer be tolerated, thus his expulsion from the group. They present the gold coin as severance pay, convinced it is enough to facilitate relocation as if it were a golden ticket to a better life. Aston also strictly instructs Xenos to never mention having been a member of the Golden Phoenix. Xenos takes the coin and departs. Meanwhile, on a dark street late at night, a man is tightly gripping an elf girl. The man stabs her, inflicting a deep, potentially fatal wound. Xenos happens to be passing by and discovers the girl lying in the street, blood flowing freely from her body. Since the girl is property, he uses the one gold coin to purchase her, making a literal down payment on a human life. After the men leave, Xenos goes to the elf girl, who is certain she is about to die. He holds her and treats her wound in an instant. She is shocked that the pain has stopped. Despite her conviction that death was imminent, it was faster than express shipping. The elf girl is Lily. Xenos tells her his name and admits to having no healing license, being entirely self-taught. Lily has no home, and her stomach growls, a sound like a whale calling from the deep. They then go to a restaurant to eat. He feeds Lily without eating anything himself, the gold coin having been spent on Lily. He considers what to do with Lily, knowing that as an elf, she will not be treated fairly. Lily begins a conversation, learning that he has just been kicked out of his old adventuring party and has nowhere to go. Suddenly, the door opens, and a man with a wounded arm stumbles in. Xenos sees it is a bullet hole and a large burn. Xenos heals the wound in no time, which shocks the man. The man pays for the service. Xenos realizes that people pay restaurants for food, so he decides to charge for the services he provides in the future. A true flash of genius. A decision is made to open a healing clinic, and he decides to simply being an underground healer might be the only option. Lily wants to help. They decides to first finding a safe place for her to live. At night, they arrive in a barren area completely devoid of people. Xenos needs to run an underground operation and cannot do it openly, which is why this sort of location was chosen. There are many intact houses nearby. He selects one that appears to be in decent condition. Lily is scared to enter, having heard stories of ghosts and monsters. She was shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. They both thoroughly inspect the house to check its condition. While looking around, Carmilla, who is a ghost, suddenly appears. She demands the aroma of life, letting them know the house is occupied. Xenos remains completely calm because he has already defeated over 100 wraiths. The building they are in truly appears to be the only viable option nearby, so Xenos asks Carmilla for permission to stay, promising to remain out of her way. Carmilla refuses and lunges again. Xenos uses healing magic once more, which prevents her from causing any injury. She is stunned as no mortal has ever enraged her this much. She summons her servants to slaughter Xenos, but Xenos uses high-level healing magic and instantly disposes of all of them like flicking away dust bunnies. Carmilla then allows them to use the first floor as they wish. They begin living there by thoroughly cleaning the first floor. It starts to look like a real clinic, even though the building is being shared with a wraith. Lily, wearing a nurse outfit, asks Xenos if a little advertising should be done outside. Xenos knows that if they become too visible, the Royal Hospital could discover their operation. The problem is that no patients will arrive at the current current rate, operating a clinic in an abandoned house is not exactly a high-traffic location. Suddenly, the door opens and a patient shows up. It is the same man treated before. Xenos knew a person with a magic gunshot burn was not an average person. The man, named Zonde, has brought his sister to be examined. His sister is Zofia, who needs her arm checked. Xenos examines the wound, determining it must have been a magic gun with a special poison effect. Xenos informs her that her arm is now completely dead and decides to amputate it before the poison can spread further. A price of 1 million yen is requested, which shocks both of them. She points out that he is playing hardball, even though he knows she is Zofia the Tornado. Xenos did not know that the first patient was such a big deal, as she is one of the 3 bosses who run the slums and the leader of the Lizardmen. She is a hero to the downtrodden, known for stealing from corrupt merchants and getting a portion back to the poor, a Robin Hood with scales. She is shocked, having never heard of a healer who can grow an arm back. Xenos is surprised that other healers cannot do this, but without proper training, the established standards are unknown. Regardless, the work begins. Xenos uses healing magic and summons a blade made of mana. A time-released healing spell is cast on the affected area to numb the pain. The arm is chopped off, and then the regeneration process begins. After the arm is regenerated, Xenos sits down to rest, feeling fatigued. Sophia's mind has been completely blown, as a healer like this has never been seen before. She notices Carmilla hanging from the ceiling. Xenos informs them that Carmilla is a wraith housemate, the ultimate roommate horror story. Zofia is very impressed and hopes Xenos will not mind people being sent over for treatment. At night, Lily makes some tea for herself. Carmilla and Xenos sit together for tea. They have been getting a lot of patients since Sophia's visit. Lily begins talking with Xenos, not understanding why the Lizardmen are always injured. Xenos explains that the reason is likely a feud with one of the other factions. There is a 3-way demi-human standoff in the slums, and the fighting is ongoing between the Lizardmen, the orcs, and the werewolves. While they are talking, an explosive sound is heard signaling the likely arrival of the third group, the werewolves. Linga, the boss of the slums werewolves, arrives to meet Xenos. Linga is known for running all the illegal gambling in the underground. The werewolves realize that no matter how badly Zofia's Lizardmen are beaten, they keep bouncing back because of Xenos. He's their magical vending machine of health. Linga decides to kill Xenos to eliminate the healer for Zofia's men. Linga lunges with an axe to take Xenos' head off, but Xenos creates a protective barrier. The werewolves start hitting the barrier, but Xenos is completely unaffected. Linga decides that if they cannot kill Xenos, they will tear the building down. A very dramatic house inspection. Carmilla appears, determined to avenge the attempt to damage her home. Xenos tell Carmilla to relax, although feeling quite angry about the clinic being messed up after finally getting it looking nice. Carmilla is stopped from taking their lives because the first floor is the clinic, a place for saving lives, not taking them. Linga is surprised that the Wraith listened to Xenos. Linga immediately bends on a knee and apologizes for the damage. Since Xenos successfully commanded the Wraith, Linga orders all the men to bow down to Xenos. The next morning, a message arrives from the head of the orcs, Lady Lucifer, requesting a meeting with Xenos. After dealing with the Lizardmen and the werewolves, the orcs are next. With this meeting, 1 month after the clinic's opening, Xenos will have dealt with all the major faction leaders in the slums, truly becoming the unlicensed mayor of the underworld. Zofia has been delivering extravagant gifts every day, and Linga is constructing a massive palace next door to compensate for the damage caused. Clearly, she believes in go big or go home architecture. Xenos wonders what the head of the orcs could possibly want. Because Lowe is currently unable to move, Xenos agrees to go to her. Lowe wanted to meet the healer because Xenos has become a celebrity among those who live in the underworld of the slums. Xenos is not pleased that the reputation has spread so widely. Anyways, finding herself immobile, she asks Xenos to determine the cause. Lowe is surprised, having never heard of a healer who could check for internal injuries. Xenos locates a lump in her abdomen, which is identified as a mana stone. Lowe admits to having mistaken it for a rice ball and eating it, a truly orcish mistake. Xenos is about to leave, knowing she will expel it naturally sooner or later. She stops the healer, revealing that the stone was partially chewed, meaning its detonation is imminent. She's basically a walking time bomb. She intends to donate their wealth to Xenos. She heard that despite demanding high prices for healing, Xenos is willing to see children for free, proving he's not entirely in it for the gold. She tosses a key to Xenos, who catches it. Xenos uses healing magic to form a blade. As it is inserted into her body, he takes out the mana stone and shows to them. Xenos opened her stomach to remove the stone and then instantly healed the incision shut. It was faster than pulling a rabbit out of a hat. Before leaving, the key is returned to Lowe. Although the entire fortune could have been accepted, Xenos refuses, demanding only a price equal to the amount of work required. Lowe offers to provide around-the-clock security for the clinic, but Xenos declines. He clearly prefers a wraith roommate to muscled orc bodyguards. Later, Lily has a sullen look because the 3 girls have been visiting frequently. Xenos also finds the visits odd since the girls are not even injured, concluding they must be bored out of their minds. Carmilla disagrees, believing it is a sign of love and that the women are infatuated. Lily expresses worry because the 3 are so pretty, making her feel insecure. The next day, one by one, the three of them comes to Xenos and asks him to alloy with their team. An all-out war between the three factions is scheduled to take place at noon. Carmilla frames the situation by saying, "Many will die because of Xenos' womanizing ways, a very high-stakes love triangle." Lily, meanwhile, is showing signs of jealousy with a strange expression. At noon, the three factions assemble, intending to settle who deserves to be on top. Xenos arrives, but not to stop the fight. Knowing the three have deep-seated grudges from years of conflict, Xenos wants them to fight it out until they are all satisfied. It is agreed that whoever survives can claim Xenos now the grand prize in a demolition derby. The fight begins, with all three attacking each other and their respective armies clashing. Time passes, and it is evening, but the battle continues, though all the fighters are now exhausted. Xenos is watching and healing them instantly whenever they are injured. The girls realizes the fight will never end if their injuries are immediately healed. They laugh, wondering why they are wearing themselves out with such a silly battle. They decide to wrap things up for the day. As Dr. Xenos said, they follow the proverb, "Forgiveness is strength," to end the conflict. Xenos has no idea what they are referring to. He's as clueless as a cucumber. Lily realizes that Xenos is indeed very popular. Xenos performed these actions after recalling what a mentor once said, "A healer is third-rate if only injuries are healed, second-rate if a person can be wholly healed, and first-rate if the world can be made a better place." Later, Lily grabs Xenos' hand and says she likes him. Xenos replies that the feeling is mutual. Lily tries to clarify that the feeling is not what Xenos means. Xenos asks for an explanation, but Lily is unable to articulate the true meaning. It is time to get paid, and Xenos charges all of them for the healing services rendered to their entire factions, a group rate for mass casualty management. After collecting the fees, the return home is made. The scene shifts to a division commander calling in Vice Commander Krishna. The commander is worried about concerning rumors lately. The turf war between the demi-humans of the slums has calmed down. Despite years of feuding over territory, the whole place has gone quiet as a library. If the fighting stops, the commander believes the demi-humans would pose a threat to the citizens. The commander sees peace as a national security risk. Krishna cannot believe a long-standing grudge among the demi-humans can be settled. Krishna cannot imagine an individual capable of corralling them like herding angry dragons. Krishna is instructed to handle the matter. Krishna assures the apprehension of such an individual, if one exists. In the building, Xenos sneezes, which means someone's talking about him. The three demi-humans immediately offer to warm the healer up, one referencing a tail, another muscles, and a third a bosom. Xenos is now the object of a triple-threat comfort offense. Xenos heals Zonde with magic. Zofia explains an injury sustained while working. She is selective about her targets, but the Royal Order of Knights has been watching them. Zofia explains that one of the Royal Knights caught her while she was sneaking into an aristocrat's manor. A crazy woman blasted Zonde's arm out of nowhere with a flame magic gun. The crazy woman is their vice commander, who unleashes hell with a completely blank expression, which is a truly terrifying combination. Lily reminds them all that she is the normal one, a dubious claim. Xenos believes there is no need to worry, because the high and mighty Royal Knights would not care about some underground nobody healer. Lily asks Xenos about lunch, prompting all the girls to start listing what they want to eat. She then prepares lunch, making everything the girls requested. Before going to her floor, Carmilla suggests Xenos keep in mind that the healer is likely the only one in the entire royal capital capable of keeping the slum leaders in line. Xenos feels like some kind of dangerous animal wrangler, and truly hopes that no more troublesome guests arrive. Carmilla floats off, dropping the ominous line that Xenos the underground healer had sealed his own fate. Krishna reaches the slums and is surprised, which makes her wonder if she is truly in the slums. It looked like a G-rated children's cartoon. She sees a lizardman and approaches, asking about the surprisingly good relations with the werewolves and orcs. The lizardman, not knowing who she is, refuses to tell her anything because the healer is trying to keep a low profile. The lizardman is walking away when Krishna places her magic gun against the body. She asks who the mediator is, but the lizardman still refuses to tell. The lizardman suddenly calls out to Zofia and Zonde, causing Krishna to flee immediately. Realizing that starting trouble in enemy territory is a bad idea, she retreated faster than a vampire at sunrise. She caught a glimpse of Zofia and Zonde and is shocked to see their arms are fully recovered despite injuries that should have been beyond any hope of healing. She keeps running and reaches a vacant space. Krishna, needing directions, enters Zeno's house. She was in the slums but somehow ended up in the abandoned part of the city. She asks if Zenos can show her how to get back into town. Zenos is about to give instructions when Lily walks in, asking if they have a patient. Krishna immediately hits Zenos with the magic gun, and a purple smoke envelops the healer, a very aggressive thank you. The vice commander never anticipated encountering another target in such an unlikely place. While working on a separate, larger case, an investigation into a string of child kidnappings has also been ongoing. Lily tries to convince the knight that Xenos has not kidnapped her. Krishna is suspicious because Xenos is a human and Lily is an elf child, suggesting they are not related by blood, but maybe by mischief. The thought is that Xenos executed a clever trick by setting up shop in this desolate location, devoid of witnesses like a ninja dojo. Lily tells that Xenos saved her. Krishna apologizes for the quickness in apprehending suspects. attacks. Xenos, however, should have been unconscious for a while due to the spray used, and Krishna is shocked to see the healer still awake. Xenos must have been sprayed with water, not knockout gas. Krishna sincerely apologizes for the misunderstanding, admitting to having jumped to conclusions faster than a caffeine addict on a Monday. Relief is expressed that Xenos is alright, though confusion remains as to how the attack was survived. Approaching Xenos, she confirms that the attack caused no harm, which is highly surprising. A question is posed: is Xenos some sort of renowned grand sorcerer who devoted heart and soul to defensive magic from an early age, mastering the field and earning a legendary name like Captain Shield? Xenos informs the knight that the assumptions are completely wrong and the naming sense is terrible. Krishna acknowledges that a lack of naming talent is only one fault. However, confidence is placed in the discerning eye of Vice Commander Krishna of the Royal Order of Knights. When the title is revealed, Xenos and Lily are stunned. She's practically royalty in armor. Regardless, cooperation with the investigation is expected. Xenos subtly signals for everyone to stay away, like a mime warning of an invisible bear, due to the nature of the situation. Krishna sits down and explains the mission, which is a secret assignment to the slums to locate and take a certain individual into custody. Xenos asks who the target is. Krishna reveals the search is for the Mediator, who ended the feud between the factions in the slums. Xenos cannot process the revelation, his brain short-circuited. Krishna believes that performing such deeds makes the Mediator a servant of the devil. Xenos suggests that perhaps the person simply wanted to avoid the spotlight, like a celebrity hiding from the paparazzi. Krishna emphasizes that someone with the power to unify rival factions in the slums could eventually pose a threat to the nation itself. Lily interjects, suggesting the person might simply dislike seeing people get hurt, but Krishna does not see it that way. Krishna stands to depart, but before leaving, notices the extra bed outside the bedroom and asks about it. Xenos offers a lame excuse, but Krishna asks to use the bed, having had trouble finding a base of operations. The location is ideal for being close to the slums without attracting attention. Payment is offered for the stay, as the intention is to find the root of this new evil, the Mediator, and capture them personally, a self-proclaimed super sleuth with a badge. A while later, Lily brings Krishna tea. Lily then rushes into Xenos' lap and asks for a head pat. Xenos is baffled by the strange behavior. Carmilla, who has gone invisible, whispers into Xenos' ear that Lily is jealous and is trying to demonstrate an advantage to this random new challenger, which is a dramatic display of ownership, proving a closer relationship. Lily continues the bizarre behavior, blowing on Xenos' tea to cool it, combing Xenos' hair, and bringing an apple to feed Xenos. Lily decides to use a secret weapon taught by Carmilla, grabbing Xenos' cheeks and declaring that tonight, sleeping won't be an option. Xenos is utterly shocked, but moments later, Lily falls asleep in the lap. Her secret weapon was apparently sleep deprivation for herself. Xenos gently puts Lily to bed and then speaks with Krishna. Krishna asks if Xenos knows who the slave traders were that captured Lily. Krishna apologizes again for a short temper, claiming it to be the only fault, a statement that immediately trips over several others. However, the actions suggest many faults exist. Krishna is meant to be a perfect member of the royal guard and a hero to the people, so at most one fault is allowed, a very strict hero contract. Anyway, the conversation returns to magic. Xenos is asked if a master mage who has perfected defense magic exists. A hypothetical is posed that if someone were able to master healing magic as Xenos has mastered defense, would it be possible for them to fully regenerate an arm? Krishna knows that this is impossible for anyone other than a saint or a handful of the highest level top secret healers. Krishna reveals that during a fight with Zofia the Tornado, a fair amount of damage was inflicted on her arm, yet later, Zofia and her minion were seen in the slums with their arms completely back to normal. Zofia was rebuilt better, faster, stronger. As the accusations against Xenos escalate, Xenos questions what makes Krishna feel so threatened by the slums. Krishna shares a personal story. Her mother was killed by someone who lived there. She was a profoundly kind woman who visited the slums daily to feed the hungry. One day, she returned as a corpse. Krishna was told it was a crime committed to steal a wedding ring. Many were suffering from hunger, but no one was there to save her. This experience led to the decision to become an invincible hero capable of delivering justice to the criminals of the slums. Krishna became the youngest vice commander in the history of the Royal Knights. This unyielding commitment to duty eventually earned the nickname Iron Rose, a flower that will not wilt. The face, like an iron mask, has had trouble smiling ever since that day. In the morning, Krishna leaves, informing Xenos of a plan to return at night. After Krishna leaves, Carmilla tells Xenos that Krishna's story is not that unusual in the grand scheme of tragic backstories. Shortly after, Zofia arrives for treatment. While Xenos is treating her, Krishna suddenly returns home. Having gotten lost, the great vice commander is directionally challenged. As the door opens, Zofia is seen sitting inside. Both are stunned to see each other. Xenos sounds like a husband caught cheating with the slum boss. Lily tells Krishna that Zofia got lost and ended up there. Zofia backs up the lie. Krishna asks Zofia about the arm, believing it was the Mediator who healed it, the person gathering the criminal elements of the slums to threaten its innocent residents. Zofia, a low-level rogue, might not have much credibility, responsibility, but she tells Krishna that crooks can be found at all levels of society, even the top-shelf ones. Zofia has heard that the royal knights are investigating a child trafficking ring and asks Krishna if she knows the boss was an aristocrat. Krishna believes the child trafficking ring is centered in the slums, but Zofia says that is just where the low-ranking operators are to throw off the scent, like a cheap air freshener. Zofia knew the claim would not be believed. Krishna asked for the name of the accused ringleader. Zofia names Calendar. Krishna refuses to believe this, as Calendar is a philanthropist passionate about educating orphans. Zofia explains that Krishna's surface-level judgment makes it easy to be deceived. Zofia describes the mediator, who never judged any of them based on status or appearance. The mediator is unlike Krishna, who is convinced that all evil comes from the slums. Zofia tells Krishna that the idea of justice is a joke, a very unfunny one. Zeno steps in front of Zofia to prevent Krishna from shooting, stating that Zofia is a patient. Zenos tells Krishna the truth, that he is the mediator. Krishna refuses to accept this, stating it would be impossible to wield two schools of magic at such a high level, as Zenos' specialty is defensive magic, while the mediator's specialty is healing magic. It becomes clear to Krishna that Zenos is sided with the demi-humans and the mediator. Krishna decides to find a different place to work from now on, and leaves in a huff. Lily notices that Krishna heads in the opposite direction from the slums. Krishna makes a surprise visit to Lord Calendar. After meeting him, she respectfully asks if he is aware of the recent presence of thieves operating in the area. She also requests a security assessment of his manor. To get the best grasp of the usual level of security, she begs a pardon, but suggests a surprise inspection would be more effective. She goes with him to inspect the manor, thinking that Zofia's claim that Lord Calendar was the ringleader is a waste of time. After the inspection, she asks to use his washroom before leaving. While heading to the washroom, she logically processes the situation. Suspecting something is wrong, she investigates and finds a well, which she does not hesitate to enter. As soon as she descends, she is shocked to see children in cages. Before she can help them, Calendar shoots her with a magic gun. Lord Calendar expresses displeasure with a mere knight sniffing around a noble's business. Krishna feels heartbroken at the failure to be a real hero. Just then, Zofia and Zenos appear to save her. They arrive faster than a pizza delivery guy in a rush. Zenos tells Krishna she don't disappoint, and that's not a compliment. Calendar is fine with killing Zofia, as she is a lizardman, and no one will complain about killing a thief from the slums. He shoots Zenos with the magic gun, feeling relief at the healer's assumed death, but then is stunned when Zenos emerges from the gunshot unscathed. Zenos is apparently made of rubber and Teflon. Calendar throws the magic gun down and tries to run, unable to comprehend what Zenos is. Zenos picks up the gun and points it at Calendar, who calls the healer a low-born dog. Calendar instantly changes the tone and begins begging for forgiveness when seeing Zenos about to shoot a quick flip-flop of arrogance. Zenos refuses the plea, puts the gun to Calendar's head, and shoots. However, the limiter on the gun was on, so Calendar should not be dead. Zenos decides to treat Krishna, but is surprised by the defeated look after such a relatively minor hit, which does not suit the Iron Rose. Zenos uses healing magic and repairs all the wounds. Krishna, having no idea who Zenos is, believes Zenos is a hero. While treating her, Zenos says that the title is nothing more than an underground healer working out of a rundown clinic, as he is a very humble hero. Krishna is amazed to see the arm is completely restored. She believes Zenos is the perfect hero, but Zenos suggests that to the children, she is the real hero because she was the first one to take action. The children thank Krishna and call her Lady Hero. All this time, Krishna thought the mother was a pitiable victim, but her eyes were always shining. She would feed the children of the slums with food she made herself. Zenos believes Krishna's mother was also someone's hero, just as Krishna is a hero to these kids. Krishna begins to cry, remembering the mother. All the children are safely evacuated from the cages by the lizardmen. Zofia and Zenos decide to slip back into the shadows. Before they can leave, Krishna rushes to Zenos, asking why the healer saved her. Zenos reminds her that a promise was made to pay for using the clinic's bed, and if she had died, the bill could not have been collected. Zenos informs her that the fee for healing is being added to the cost, and payment is due immediately. Krishna begins to laugh after hearing the amount owed. Zenos is happy to see her smile. Krishna is also surprised to have smiled because of Zenos. It has been a long time since the last smile, so the thought occurs that not being good at smiling is a fault, only to realize that it is simply one of many faults, basically a healthy realization of imperfection. Zenos and Lily are walking through the slums to purchase new tea. Zenos recalls a time when he, being a child, was sitting alone in a corner of the slums. A man named Aston approached and asked Zenos to join his adventuring party. Zenos had heard that people from the slums could not become adventurers. Aston told Zenos that motivation and skills mattered more than status, a likely politician's promise. Aston laughed upon hearing that Zenos only knew a bit of healing magic. Nonetheless, Zenos was offered a position in the party, though Aston didn't expect much contribution, simply wanting a slave. Aston's true hiring philosophy. Unknown to Aston, Zenos was actually the one helping during fights against wild creatures, but Aston considered Zenos useless, like just lugging baggage around, an armored pack mule. The Golden Phoenix party embarked on an adventure far from from the city. Aston believed this was their chance to earn favor with one of the 7th-grade nobles, but it felt like a waste of energy. A party member named Guile was still feeling the effects of last night's drinking, the classic adventurer preparation, and the other, Yuma, was excited to finish the task and get back to drinking. Their target was a firefox, whose hides were needed for Lord Fennel. As soon as Guile activated the magic, Aston rushed to engage the wild beasts, but they were all immediately attacked. Guile panicked, casting the spell, but the magic did not work effectively. Aston had no choice but to retreat for the time being, a tactical sprint away. After escaping, Aston severely reprimanded the team for struggling against a B+ rated firefox. They all wondered if Xenos had actually been secretly using healing magic on them, like a hidden medical drone. Aston realized they should hire a real-deal healer, not some worthless peasant like Xenos. 10 days later, they reached a certain location and hired a healer named Uman. She usually healed in the capital and just happened to possess an adventuring license. Guile asked Uman if Yuma would be alright. Uman replied that Yuma should survive but probably would never adventure again, not Golden Phoenix material indeed. It was clear that Yuma was not Golden Phoenix material. Regardless, Aston believed the loss of an archer would not make a difference. Lord Fennel wanted a scarf made of firefox spur for a daughter's birthday present, and Aston was determined not to miss the chance to ingratiate with the upper crust. An ambush occurred. Aston ordered Guile to defend and proceeded to dodge the firefox attacks. Aston's body began to feel sluggish. Andes was lying on the ground, helpless. Human warned Aston that Mr. Andes was in serious trouble without proper healing. Aston refused to stop the battle. Enraged, Aston ordered Human to heal immediately, reminding her that she was a healer. Human had already cast and enchanted a spell based on the injury's condition. She urged Aston to take Andes to the hospital, but Aston refused due to the time constraint. Aston realized they had been taking damage ever since Xenos was kicked out. The thought crossed Aston's mind that Xenos might have been the one protecting them, but the ego refused to accept it, a shield made of pure pride. After the failed adventure, they returned to the city. Lord Fennel's butler immediately threw them out of the party, like yesterday's trash. Aston angrily muttered Xenos' name, calling the healer a traitor, but then realized Xenos' name was never given to anyone, specifically to ensure that no one knew someone from the slums had been in the party. Aston quickly took the words back and apologized to Fennel's butler, humiliated at having to bow a head to a damned servant. Aston promised the butler that they would soon recruit new members to make up for the losses and get the job done next time. Aston decided to take Xenos back, certain that Xenos would be desperate to rejoin them, expecting Xenos to be weeping with gratitude the moment the offer was made. Aston's delusions were high. Aston refused to believe that Xenos was the one keeping the party functional, but the fact remained that everything was smooth with Xenos around. Aston decided to use Xenos just like at the beginning and regain all the lost fame. Confidence returned, assuring that the Phoenix would rise again, likely just a crash and burn. The decision was made to fetch Xenos personally. Aston, accompanied by Guile, went to the slums. Guile thought Xenos might have already died in a ditch somewhere, a very high estimation of Xenos' fate. Aston believed Xenos must be alive, having been given a gold coin, and considered the act very generous, although it was a single coin. Aston decided to hire the 3 demi-human bosses to help find Xenos. Aston went to Zofia first, immediately thinking of adding her to a harem once becoming an aristocrat, dreaming big as always. Aston introduced self to Zofia, who was unimpressed and demanded Aston get straight to the point. Zofia has no time for fluff. Aston asked her to find someone, Xenos, who would have entered the slums about 2 months ago. Zofia burst out laughing, realizing they were the idiots who kicked Xenos out. Zofia told Aston that the person being sought has better things to do than put up with his nonsense and that they should leave. Aston departed, seeing that Zofia would not help. Next, Aston went to Linga, who was also surprised to see the stupid party who kicked Sir Xenos out. She suggested they would be better off dying and reincarnating as toilet roaches, a very specific, high-level insult. Then he went to Loe, who was similarly surprised to see the trash that kicked Xenos out. Loe warned them that if any harassment of Xenos was discovered, the orcs would not take kindly to it. Guile and Aston left, still unable to believe that the 3 leaders of the demi-human gangs all liked Xenos. Aston could not accept that Xenos, the slave, the peasant, had this kind of influence. Guile spotted Xenos with Lily. They approached Xenos, who turned, not expecting their arrival and showing no interest in their reason for coming. Aston proudly announced Xenos would be allowed to rejoin the Golden Phoenix, a truly magnificent offer. Xenos turned down the offer, shocking Aston. He states his fee to Aston of 50,000 wen for every healing, 1 million for critical injuries, and triple that cost for defensive and buff magic, with no expectation of a discount. Aston flew into a rage, demanding to know who Xenos thought to be. While Aston was ranting, Xenos observed the demi-humans gathering around, praising Xenos for the services. Xenos simply ignored Aston and walked away, leaving Aston bewildered. Aston began reminding Xenos of past favors, but Xenos cut across the claim, stating he is late. With that, Xenos started to walk away. Seeing Xenos leave, Aston drew a sword and moved to strike, but Krishna shot Aston down with a magic gun. Justice served with a bang. Krishna had come to see Xenos. Aston, recognizing Krishna, Krishna, as the youngest vice commander in the history of the Royal Knights, wondered why she was so friendly with Xenos. Krishna decided to take Aston to the nearest station for attempted assault. Aston immediately blamed the Guile for forcing the attack and escaped, like a classic blame and bail. The next day, everyone gathered to discuss Aston's visit, inquiring about Xenos. Zofia had a bad feeling and ordered some of her men to watch Aston and Guile, but they lost the trail. The werewolves also lost their scent and the orcs could not find them. The worry was that if those guys went digging to the underground guild that handles illegal tasks, they might cause trouble. Lily wondered what they would do if they went to the underground guild and asked for something bad. Xenos reminded everyone that they would need to pay a lot of money to hire people through that guild. Zofia fell into deep thought, recalling rumors of someone who takes jobs under certain conditions even without pay, calling themselves the Guide. Sometime later, Xenos was sitting alone when Lily came in, having been asleep earlier. She asked if tea was needed and prepared some. While Xenos drank, Lily began stroking the healer's head in an attempt to induce sleep, but Lily fell asleep first. The head stroker was the true sleepy head. Carmilla appeared, hence the 3 cups of tea. She asked if the run-in with the old party was keeping Xenos awake. Xenos confessed to having honestly forgotten about Aston and the others, but the reminder sparked regret at not having physically retaliated. The thoughts had actually drifted further back in time. Carmilla asked how healing magic was learned while living in the slums. Xenos explained that it involved trying to revive a corpse, something that came with the territory. As a child, nothing was known about resurrection, and a teacher once pat Xenos on the head for the attempt. Carmilla recalled that when she was alive, there was something called artificial life, the sorcery to create golems. They used a special kind of magic stone as a core and added carbon and sulfur, among other ingredients, to create the golem. Golems felt no pain or fear and worked tirelessly. While talking, an explosion was heard coming from the slums. Carmilla went to see what it was and found that a golem was rampaging in the slums, exactly what they had just been discussing. An extremely ill-timed topic change. The boss of the underground guild, known as Guide, is approached by a man who requests an assassination. Guide asks the man to explain the reason for seeking revenge, stating that the deal will not be accepted without a full discussion. Apparently, even in the black market, there's a detailed intake form. The man changes his mind and reveals the entire matter. Guide agrees to help. A magic crystal is produced from a pocket, a device that has been a recent project. Since the man has provided the perfect opportunity to test it, making this a live-fire beta test, the request can be fulfilled simultaneously. The scene shifts to the slums, where the golem is causing destruction. Carmilla is intensely curious about how an ancient relic could possibly have ended up there. She's a ghost, and she thinks it's weird. Just then, the 3 demi-human bosses arrive, having been on their way to Xenos. Many of Linga's werewolves are severely hurt and immobile. Looking at the creature, Xenos informs the 3 that it appears to be some kind of artificial life form from a long time ago, sorcery that was thought to be lost. They have no idea where the golem came from, but one of Loe's orcs says it was seen coming from deeper in the slums. Xenos wonders if the underground guild could be involved. Xenos instructs the 3 bosses to cooperate and gather all the injured in one spot, turning the disaster area into a giant waiting room. Guide is likely watching the golem, which is as destructive as anticipated, though not quite as mobile. Guide wonders how Xenos will react when the people who admire the healer start dying one by one. Guide is clearly enjoying the pay-per-view chaos. The demi-humans are following the scent of blood to track down the injured. Xenos uses healing magic to treat the wounded demi-humans. Xenos is intensely pissed off at being dragged out in the middle of the night to heal hundreds of people, not even certain of getting paid, and worried about Lily, who is still at the house. Guide observes the events in the slums through binoculars and is genuinely surprised by Xenos' abilities. The golem, however, continues to destroy everything and rampage. Xenos has now treated all the injured, no more are left. Exhaustion sets in. The golem is still making a mess, and Xenos doubts it will get bored and go home eventually, like a rebellious teenager. The high-purity magic stone that forms the golem's core is only found on the southernmost continent where the Demon Lord's castle was, and most of it should have been used up during the Man-Fiend War. The systems for black magic were thought lost for ages, and even the other ingredients for that Hulk would be hard to acquire. Everyone wonders who could have done this. Regardless, Xenos decides to go take down the monster. Carmilla warns them that to destroy the golem, they must destroy the magic stone that makes up its core. Otherwise, the golem will simply regenerate repeatedly. It has a very aggressive warranty program. Xenos acknowledges the warning, regretting the inability to resell the magic stone if destroyed. He's a healer, but he's also a pragmatist. Xenos orders everyone to start by hitting the golem with everything they have, assuring them of support. The golem continues to destroy houses. It hits Linga, but she is surprisingly still alive. Agility boost is apparently better than a chiropractor. The 3 girls are ordered to shatter both of the golem's legs. They follow the command. Suddenly, they notice a kid nearby nearby. Xenos rushes toward the child to provide protection. The golem does nothing to the crying child, who runs away. Guide finds Xenos full of surprises, claiming victory in the second act as well. Now the climax begins, where one final decision awaits Xenos. Carmilla notes that golems only follow simple orders and should not be capable of this, expressing surprise that the golem became fiercer once Xenos started fighting it. Even a hunk of rock is getting competitive. Xenos suggests that someone might have been trying to create life from an imperfect magic stone. Xenos scans the golem and locates the magic stone in its left breast. The question is asked of it is that Aston. The scene shifts back to the past when Guide asked the name of the client. The client was Aston. Guide believed the best way to create life from an imperfect magic stone would be to combine it with a living human. The fusion of magic stone and man created a new kind of core. Since humans are difficult to control with their complex emotions, a simpleton with intense negative feelings made the perfect choice. Aston was the ultimate in human magic stone compatibility. Guide simply made it clear that the magic stone was necessary for Aston's revenge, and once it was implanted, the golem was created. Now, Aston and the magic stone are one. Guide is excited to see how Xenos will bring the curtain down on this fight. Guide finds this thrilling, believing the whole thing cost only one worthless life. Guide thinks this drama deserves a Golden Globe. Xenos dismisses the girls, explaining that although the golem will regenerate again, they can still handle the front line. Xenos knows staying on the front line is probably the smarter idea. A memory of the mentor's 7th most repeated line surfaces that healers shouldn't fight on the front lines. Focusing on a personal fight means neglecting support for allies, but Xenos believes now that only the healer can settle this with the golem. The three girls leave Xenos alone. Carmilla also decides to head home, as it is nearly dawn and she dislikes the sun. It sounds like she's keeping up with her ghost beauty regimen. Now only Aston and Xenos are left. Xenos is surprised that someone as obnoxious and selfish as Aston saved the kid earlier. Xenos remembers Guile mentioning once that the reason Aston is obsessed with money and power is because a younger sister died when Aston could not afford the medicine she needed. Xenos asks Aston if that kid was a reminder of the sister, questioning if there is still some part of humanity in there. Xenos realizes Aston is still full of rage, angry that the pup taken in found a new home after being abandoned. Back then, Xenos always thought it was strange how Aston knew the healer had no place to belong, but now understands that Aston also has no place either. He finds Aston inside. Xenos is not thrilled to see Aston again, but acknowledges that this will be the last time the face must be seen. Xenos slashes Aston with a sword. Guide is surprised by the less hesitation Xenos showed in killing Aston than expected. Guide is disappointed by the ending but quickly dismisses the feeling. However, Guide notices something strange. Xenos is healing and destroying in tandem. It's the world's most aggressive surgical procedure. Xenos cuts away the parts that are fused with the magic stone, then gradually heals the remaining physiology. Cutting away too much means Aston dies. Hesitating too much means the magic stone fuses with the regenerated body. Despite all that, Xenos is maintaining all the caution and focus required to excise the magic stone. Guide cannot believe this sight. Xenos tells Aston that the world would be better off without Aston, and since Aston is too broke to pay for the healing, Xenos is sending the bill to the next nearest party, Guide. Xenos also remembers two good things Aston did: being taken out of the slums and receiving that bit of severance pay on a whim, which allowed Lily to be saved, leading to the clinic's start and ultimately changing Xenos' life. With all power, Xenos strikes the magic stone, shattering it into pieces. Aston is left bewildered, realizing how amazing Xenos is. Aston has lost everything, but Xenos still expects the man to go on living. Aston asks if this is Xenos' revenge. Aston knows Xenos cannot be blamed for feeling that way, having spent an entire life using people for personal benefit. Aston apologizes by bowing down. Xenos tells Aston to get up. Aston refuses to look up, stating the refusal is to prevent being hit otherwise. Aston knows Xenos' invoice always includes a painful surcharge. When Xenos sees Aston is back to normal, the power is activated. The biggest reason for keeping Aston alive was the desire to not feel better punching an unconscious man. Xenos prefers his vengeance to be lucid. Xenos punches Aston so hard that the man is sent flying far away. Stripped of clothes, because being broke wasn't enough punishment, Xenos returns home. The scene changes to the next morning. Krishna arrives due to reports of a monster attack and finds Aston lying unconscious. She wakes him up. Xenos had told her everything that happened, and she is surprised that a disaster of this scale occurred without a single fatality. She arrests Aston for attempted assault and many other charges. She adds public indecency to the list, which is the final cherry on Aston's disaster sundae. Aston immediately covers the private parts, sitting naked. Xenos took Aston's sword, as it is a top-class item and should sell for a decent price to cover the cost of the damaged housewares. Aston realizes nothing is left now. Xenos left the severance pay for Aston, not wanting anything more to do with the man. Aston starts crying loudly upon seeing the severance severance pay, 1 coin is still enough to trigger a full-on sob session. Xenos, on the way home, is so exhausted that barely walking is possible. The 3 girls support the healer, turning the doctor's walk home into a very well-guarded victory parade. Meanwhile, Guy decides to go into hiding for a while, certain that Xenos will interfere again someday, and when that happens, a bigger price will be paid. Guy is adding Xenos to the Do Not Disturb list of world problems. As soon as Xenos arrives home, Carmilla is relieved. She always acts uncaring, but deep down, she cares. Lily tells Xenos that Carmilla was so worried about the healer being out late that she was floating all over the house, having a full-blown ghostly panic attack. Carmilla denies the concern. Lily welcomes Xenos back home and serves tea. Krishna reports that the investigation into the mastermind behind the golem attack has not yielded much, only confirming the individual calls himself the Guide. Guide is now on Xenos' very expensive tab. Guide left no trace behind. Sophia reveals that the person had recently started visiting the underground guild and tended to be alone. Sophia is certain he will be back sooner or later. Linga believes Guide is plotting something, and Louis suspects ties even deeper into the underworld. Xenos interrupts, finding it awkward that they are all talking to each other from across the room. It's like a very tense game of telephone. Krishna explains she can hardly be seen sipping tea at the same table as a group of demi-humans. Being a royal knight, the demi-humans, for their part, also refuse to let her sit at their table. Xenos stops the argument, declaring the day a day off due to exhaustion, and pushes them all out of the house, like shooing out highly dangerous yet devoted house cats. Alone at the table, Lily approaches Xenos with an idea. She sees Xenos is extremely tired since the golem attack and thought a change of pace might help. Before she can suggest the destination, Zofia slams the door open and enters, asking Xenos to go to a hot spring to help recover. Immediately after Zofia leaves, Linga arrives, also asking Xenos to go to a hot spring. Then Loie enters, and Xenos preemptively states that the healer knows she wants to go to a hot spring. Loa is amazed at Xenos' insight, believing they must truly be of one heart. Xenos is a master psychic, or this is just a very obvious setup. Krishna then arrives, and Xenos informs her that the healer knows she also wants to go to a hot spring. Xenos agrees to go with all of them. The original question is posed to Lily again, who avoids admitting she was going to ask the same thing. Carmilla floats onto the floor, greatly amused by the girl's efforts, claiming she never tires of watching the unseemly struggles of women in love. Xenos finds the highest class of undead to have vulgar tastes, critiquing Carmilla's choice of reality television. Later, Xenos is relaxing inside the men's hot spring bath. Zofia enters the men's bath and begins talking about how her brother and underlings say she seems different lately. She never imagined getting along with werewolves and orcs, let alone chatting with a royal knight. She suggests Xenos might change the world, but Xenos dismisses the idea. Being just an underground healer at a rundown clinic, he's determined to be the most modest world changer ever. Xenos notices Zofia moving closer. She was hoping the conversation would lower Xenos' guard, but it did not work. She starts physically forcing the issue, but Linga enters, claiming to be dizzy from the heat, and gets into the bath. Linga tries to jump onto Xenos, but Zofia blocks her and holds her in her arms, like a very reluctant teddy bear. As they fuss with each other, Loie emerges from under the water. She had been waiting underwater for Xenos. She took the concept of a surprise attack very literally. She is naked and presents her body, asking Xenos about it. The 3 of them start fighting over who is more bodacious. The battle of the bath curves. Suddenly, Krishna appears, demanding to know what the demi-humans think they are doing. She screams at them for being in the men's bath, only for Zofia to question what Krishna is doing there. Krishna quickly lies, claiming she got lost and mistook the men's bath for the women's, the world's least convincing navigational error. The 4 of them begin fighting. Xenos yells at them all to go to the women's bath. Uman, in the women's bath, hears Xenos' voice and wonders what is happening, hoping no weirdo is ruining her trip. She gets out of the hot bath and sees the girls arriving, finding it surprising to see a mixed group like that bathing socially together. Lily is sitting alone near Uman, feeling jealous. She was too self-conscious to charge into the men's bath because she doesn't have a nicer body like the others. She is sad about her small chest. She then notices that Uman also doesn't have a large chest and is happy to finally find someone similar. The small chest solidarity pact. Carmilla tries to console her, saying she is still growing and that there's no guarantee that bigger is the preferred size. Lily asks Carmilla if Xenos will like her with a small chest. Lily notices that Carmilla seems more transparent than usual. Carmilla jokingly pranks her, claiming to be ascending, like a Windows update. Xenos is angry at Carmilla for the disturbance and threatens to exorcise her. Uman wonders if she imagined the wraith, concluding she must be hallucinating from exhaustion. Later, they are all enjoying a good dinner, but Krishna is sitting alone at a separate table. Xenos asks her to join them. Carmilla is also relaxing alone in her room. After dinner, Lily falls asleep. Xenos returns home and sits with Carmilla, who asks if the meal was enjoyable. Xenos mentions the girls played a drinking game where the winner got to sit on Xenos' lap. Carmilla advises Xenos to enjoy the lively times while they last, certain the healer will soon be drawn into more complicated matters. The next morning, an explosion is heard near the hot springs. Uman runs to the scene and finds a man lying injured, burned by the explosion of fire magic stones. Uman tries to heal him but knows that in the condition of his arm, he may never be able to hold a knife again, a future of fork-only dining. Xenos arrives wondering about the explosion and sees the severely burnt man. Uman requests that Xenos carry the man to a royal hospital branch in the city center. Xenos gives no response and walks away, abandoning the man like a very busy pigeon, but not before casting a healing spell without being noticed. As soon as Xenos leaves, the man wakes up. Uman is astonished, wondering if her spell worked or if Xenos was a high-ranked healer who could instantly treat that kind of burn with no magical circle for reinforcement. She concludes that only a saint or an elite healer could do that. Uman returns and spills the entire story to Ernardo Becker. Ernardo is certain the government would want a healer of that caliber as a national asset. Uman mentions that the guy who left wore a black coat and was called Xenos. Ernardo decides to search for this elite healer and check for official registration, wanting to meet Xenos as a fellow elite healer. Sometime later, Zonde brings in Ernardo, whose appearance has completely changed. Ernardo coughs up a lot of blood and collapses. Xenos checks Ernardo and diagnoses red lung, a disease that caused a widespread pandemic some time ago. Xenos asks Lily and Zonde to step aside. Ernardo gets up, impressed that Xenos diagnosed him so quickly, and expresses pleasure at meeting the underground healer from the abandoned district. He introduces himself as Dr. Ernardo Becker, elite healer from the Royal Hospital. At that moment, Uman also arrives, recognizing Xenos and informing Ernardo. Uman is annoyed that Ernardo made himself seriously sick and ordered her to follow him to the hospital, the ultimate in self-inflicted medical drama. Ernardo explains that he took a drug that mimics the symptoms of red lung. He figured the locals would be willing to help someone seriously ill. He made the drugs himself, which was necessary in his efforts to find a cure for red lung. Xenos realizes Ernardo is the one who treated that disease. Dr. Becker has developed treatments for many diseases and was awarded the special rank of elite healer for his efforts. Dr. Ernardo, upon hearing about an elite class healer in a black overcoat, thought it might be someone he used to know but seems to have been wrong. He asks Xenos about the overcoat. Xenos reveals it belonged to the teacher, whose name Xenos does not know, as the teacher never told it. Apparently, he was a very secretive mentor. Ernardo asks Xenos if there is an interest in working at the Royal Hospital. Just then, Zofia and the other two demi-humans arrive, having seen the red flag indicating an emergency. Zofia immediately objects to Xenos being taken away. The three bosses display a united front, trying to protect Xenos. Ernardo realizes they need to reconsider their approach and decides to make this an official deal, or rather, a commission. Xenos agrees to what they ask because now that they know about the underground operation, Xenos needs them on side. The most important factor is that Ernardo seems to know Xenos' teacher. Ernardo offers to give Xenos more details if the healer comes to the Royal Hospital. Though called the commission, once this matter is handled, Xenos is assured of Ernardo's assistance in that regard. Dr. Ernardo Becker welcomes Xenos, the underground healer, to the Royal Hospital. On his first day at the Royal Hospital, Xenos is immediately impressed by the sheer scale of the building. The hospital is so big it needs its own ZIP code. Xenos confidently declares himself legitimately shady, which is his new professional title. Ernardo gets straight to the point about the commission, the mystery of missing people. Xenos clarifies the tracking isn't the skill set. He's a healer, not a bloodhound. Ernardo asks Xenos to go around and collect any information possible. Xenos is instructed to operate under the identity of Zeno, who has recently returned from abroad. To protect the true identity, Xenos is now on an official undercover sabbatical. Upon returning to his dorm, Lily is already there. Lily considers herself Xenos' wife, but Uman explains that on paper, she's his little sister. Lily's fantasy is officially listed as a clerical error. As soon as Uman leaves, Lily calls Xenos honey and asks if Xenos wants something to eat or wants her. Lily's offering a choice between a snack and an entire meal. Xenos is surprised by the term of endearment and reminds Lily of the sister designation. Xenos finds out Carmilla taught Lily the term, and the Wraith is also present in the dorm. Xenos is surprised Carmilla risked coming, as so many healers could potentially exorcise her. Xenos wonders why she has to make a scary-sounding prophecy the moment she shows up, a Wraith's version of a bad opening line. Later, Xenos has lunch with Uman, who explains the process for a normal healer license, application for the preparatory school exam, a few years of learning, and then passing the healer exam. It sounds like a massive time investment to Xenos, who learned his trade by trying to fix corpses. Uman changes the topic to the missing person, Uffred, an upperclassman, advanced healer, and the deputy head of their laboratory. Ernardo had credited Uffred as a major contributor to the red lung cure. At that moment, Professor Goldrin, the vice director of the Royal Hospital and a Class 7 advanced healer, enters the cafe. Goldrin is a contemporary contender for the next director. Human notes that the Royal Hospital has changed since Goldron became vice director. Wealthy patients receive enthusiastic care, while less attention is paid to others. Xenos realizes it would be best to stay clear of Goldron, like a very ambitious pit of quicksand. Uman is afraid that might not be an option, suggesting there's a chance Goldron might be involved in Offred's disappearance. Offred also thought it would be good to expand horizons, but went missing a month later. Goldron claimed to have no idea where Offred went. Uman suggests that if Xenos distinguishes himself in the programs, Goldron will likely contact him. As they talk, a man named Crescent approaches to tease Uman and advises Xenos to do his best not to embarrass his sponsor. Uman explains that since Crescent was scouted by Goldron's group, he's gotten a big head, likely too large for any helmet. The story flashes back. Xenos is using healing powers on a dead body. The teacher punches Xenos, explaining that those powers should be used on the living, not the dead. The teacher was clearly not a fan of necromancy homework. The master took Xenos inside the house, where another child, Veritra, was present. The master taught both of them healing magic, and both remembered the lines about first, second, and third class healers. Back in the present, Xenos attends a lecture on undead. Xenos is surprised by how much of the information is already known. A student asks about wraiths. Students are advised to run if they encounter a wraith, especially a verbal one, as it is extremely powerful. Xenos is shocked, knowing there is a talking wraith kicking back in the room right now, probably judging his lecture notes. Crescent Wembley from the Goldron Laboratory stands up to share his experience fighting the undead, claiming to have taken down about 30 ghosts on an adventure a few years back. Xenos matches the story to avoid too much dangerous spotlight, using a bigger lie to hide a smaller truth. Crescent doesn't believe Xenos. The teacher asks Xenos to explain. After class, Crescent confronts Xenos, telling Xenos to stop spouting nonsense just to stand out. Xenos insists the opposite is true. He's trying to avoid standing out, which is why he's healing 30 ghosts at a time. The next class is on healing magic circles. Xenos doesn't understand the circles, believing it's faster to just heal the patient without taking the time to draw them. He's the fast food version of a healer. Crescent goes to the board to draw a magic circle, then points to Xenos to draw one. Xenos holds the chalk and draws the only magic circle the teacher ever taught. Crescent mocks the circle as he's never seen one like it. The teacher, however, is shocked, recognizing the circle goes beyond simple healing magic. The teacher had no idea that Xenos could cram that much information into a single circle, noting that it requires so much mana that no human could activate it. The teacher immediately offers Xenos a spot in a laboratory. Goldron is informed by a secretary about rumors of an interesting individual named Xeno, a healer capable of defeating 30 ghosts at once. Another student rushes in to report multiple sightings of undead at the Sula graveyard. Goldron instructs the student to send the special research student who can take out 30 ghosts in one blow. If Xenos lives up to the claim, they can make a spot for the healer. Later that night, they all go to the graveyard. Xenos watches the students taking out 1 or 2 ghosts at a time. The students begin to panic as the ghosts approach. Xenos uses magic and vanishes all the ghosts in one blow. Crescent, who did nothing, takes the credit to become the true hero of documentation. Everyone is impressed by Crescent, but Human tells them all it was Xenos, not Crescent. Crescent is about to leave when Xenos informs him that undead are still left. Suddenly, a zombie king, the final boss, has arrived. All the students place their hopes on Crescent. Crescent begs Human for help, but she refuses, citing his constant teasing. Xenos also decides not to interfere. Crescent's voice is cracking, but he goes to fight the zombie king, casting a spell that has no effect. It was Crescent's best magic, and he failed. The monster begins hitting him, and Crescent runs from the graveyard. Crescent is rewriting the battle logs in real time. More undead begin appearing due to the zombie king's presence. Xenos notices something is off and wonders why Crescent isn't using healing magic anymore. Human confirms Crescent was lying earlier. Crescent is just rolling around instead of fighting, adopting the play-dead combat strategy. The undead continue to hit him. Human sees an undead about to eat him and worries. Xenos uses power and activates Mega Heal, saving Crescent. After being saved, Crescent gets angry at Xenos for interfering, claiming he would have been totally fine without the help. Crescent refuses to let a little thing like being eaten ruin his pride. Lily and Carmilla's time together is interrupted by Xenos' return. He tells Carmilla the whole story, and she is surprised to hear that undead are being drawn to stronger undead. Crescent receives praise for performing so well in getting rid of the undead. The other students who helped are speaking well of him, which is impressive. Professor Goldron's secretary instructs Crescent to keep supporting the professor. Crescent, however, feels compelled to tell the truth. While the effort was good, Xenos was truly amazing and defeated the undead groups and the zombie king. Later, Bernardo calls Xenos to say that the Goldron research research lab wants a meeting, meaning an invitation to join the professor's group is coming soon. The actions against the undead have caught attention. Now that the first step is cleared, an interview with the professor is scheduled. Professor Goldrin is a very important person who commands most of the support at the Royal Hospital and does not meet with just anyone. Xenos then goes to meet Professor Goldrin. Xenos enters the room where Professor Goldrin and his second secretary are waiting. Goldrin asks what Xenos can do. Goldrin believes everyone should be treated based on what they can do because not all lives are equally important. Therefore, it is natural for the rich and the poor to get different levels of care. Goldrin then asks Xenos to draw the magic circle made in class, wanting to see for himself if Xenos will be useful. If Xenos proves value, one will be welcomed into the group. Xenos draws the magic circle on paper. Goldrin believes this shows the depth of Xenos' healing magic knowledge. When Goldrin sees the circle, one is quite shocked. The circle is fascinating, though Goldrin has never seen these specific uses. Xenos is allowed to join the lab starting tomorrow. The next morning, Xenos lines up with Goldrin's group. Cresson is the senior in this group. Starting today, Xenos is a member of the Goldrin lab and must follow the rules. Cresson hopes Xenos knows the only reason for inclusion is Cresson's recommendation, suggesting a life is owed. Professor Goldrin begins making rounds to visit patients. Goldrin only makes sure to be seen visiting very wealthy people. Xenos moves to the front to get a better look and learn more about Goldrin. Goldrin uses the healing power of others and treats the patient. Xenos returns to Cresson and asks about this magic where Goldrin uses multiple healers. Cresson explains the professor's specialty, health transfer magic. This magic moves life force between people to heal. This way, the patient is healed, and the burden on the donors is minimal, causing only a bit of tiredness. This explains why Goldrin wants so many people in his group. Cresson says the biggest reason is probably the election for the director position. At this rate, Professor Goldrin is practically certain to win. Xenos thinks Cresson is nicer than expected, since so much information is shared. Xenos asks about a Fred, who was invited to dinner and vanished right after. The professor sometimes holds dinner parties inviting all favorites. Getting an invite practically guarantees future success. Xenos goes with Cresson to the office and shows the coin to Arnardo. It is a good clue, but not enough proof. The best plan would be for Xenos to become one of Professor Goldrin's favorites, allowing infiltration of one of these dinner parties. A clear instruction is given to ensure underground operations remain undisturbed, as originally agreed. Xenos asks about Arnardo's teacher. Arnardo, in turn, presents a query of throwing coins on the floor. One states, a lack of time for necessary tasks due to research and meetings, then asks which object Xenos would prioritize picking up. Xenos responds by questioning Arnardo's belief in the equal valuation of human lives. At that moment, Uman enters the room to meet Dr. Arnardo. Arnardo excuses the interruption to attend a meeting. Xenos follows Uman out of the room. Elsewhere, Linga surreptitiously enters Xenos' clinic, intending to go to the bedroom for a private inspection. Zofia is discovered already present. Loie arrives shortly thereafter, resulting in all three being present. The immediate consequence is a collective effort to clean the premises. The setting shifts back to the Royal Hospital, where Cresson offers Xenos the opportunity to look after Professor Goldrin's cherished canine, Madam Milk, a duty Cresson typically managed. Mr. Bonds, Professor Goldrin's first secretary, arrives to inspect Cresson's activity. Mr. Bonds clearly dislikes the dog. After the secretary's departure, Cresson informs Xenos that despite being old friends, Mr. Bonds performs minimal work and is generally intoxicated throughout the day. Mr. Bonds suddenly throws an alcoholic drink toward Cresson. Madam Milk bolts from Cresson's grasp. While attempting to recapture her, the dog is struck by a horse-drawn cart. Cresson rushes to the scene, attempting to apply healing magic, but fails. Worry overtakes him as he struggles to determine the next course of action. Xenos begins casting healing magic. Cresson reacts with anger, deeming the effort futile. One is then shocked to witness Xenos' magic completely heal Madam Milk without a trace of a scar. Later that evening, Human requests a walk with Xenos. Agreement is reached, and the two begin walking. Human offers an apology, believing her failure to capture Professor Goldrin's attention had caused Xenos to be unnecessarily involved in the current situation. Xenos dismisses the concern. Human inquires about Xenos' teacher, a person of whom Xenos has scant memory. Xenos asks Uman about Arnardo. Uman proceeds to recount how Dr. Arnardo had provided assistance in every aspect of life and explained their connection. Dr. Arnardo is Uman's maternal uncle. Xenos inquires about the nature of Uman's research. Uman describes it as the study of medication storage, which is characterized as somewhat tedious. Uman had intended to apologize, but finds herself feeling encouraged instead. Uman considers Xenos an intriguing individual. Carmilla's laughter is heard. Uman is startled by the unexpected voice. Xenos advises calmness, revealing that someone had been following them. Uman expresses surprise, questioning the identity of the follower. Upon returning, Cresson rushes towards Xenos, urgently requesting assistance. Professor Goldrin returns from a lunch meeting with Lord Fennel, looking upset. His second secretary asks if there's a problem. Lord Fennel had asked Goldrin to examine his daughter Charlotte, who developed a rash a week ago that is now growing into a visible lump. While Goldrin's health transfer magic could regenerate the skin, Lord Fennel Fennel specified that Charlotte would absolutely refuse to let many people see her face, limiting Goldrun to 1 or 2 assistants at most. Goldrun is running into a patient privacy wall taller than his ego. Goldrun decides to soothe his nerves by gazing at his dear pup Madam Milk. Goldrun runs into Mr. Bonds, who casually mentions hearing that Madam Milk was run over by a carriage. Goldrun grabs Bonds by the collar, asking if he was behind it. Goldrun leaves and confirms the report with his secretary. He sees Madam Milk and is surprised that someone could heal an injury completely with no trace of scarring. Meanwhile, Crescent is pleading with Xenos for help. He's been asked to heal the daughter of one of the 7 major nobles. Xenos doesn't understand the panic, noting that if it's a benign growth, she could leave it alone. However, Crescent explains it's rooted too deep, and excision would cover a huge area. Even textbooks say the scarring is so bad that the odd face is better left untreated. Charlotte's face is about to become a medical legend for all the wrong reasons. If Crescent messes up the face of a noble's daughter, he's done for. Xenos asks him to just make sure there's no scar. Crescent explains the professor asked for him after what happened with Madam Milk. Booman doubts Crescent stole the credit again, but Crescent admits he told the second secretary that the special research student handled it. Booman harshly instructs him to admit he was totally useless this time, which sends Crescent into a yelling fit about her extreme words. He begs Xenos for help, as admitting the truth again will cause the second secretary to write him off. Lily arrives to serve tea. Crescent is surprised Xenos has such a cute sister. Crescent tries to claim her as his sister, but she refuses. Lord Fennel summons them, as the situation has become complicated. Lord Fennel informs Goldrun that Charlotte is refusing the surgery, having locked herself in her room, saying any kind of scar is unacceptable. They go to Charlotte's room, but she won't open the door. Goldrun asks her to trust them, but she refuses to allow any blade near her face. She suspects someone ordered them to mutilate her beautiful face, betting it's the Geese family's girl who has always been jealous of her. She has the conspiracy theory gene strong. Crescent proposes a simpler plan: convince her to go under the knife, heal her perfectly, make her fall for him, and then they'll get married, instantly making him a member of the aristocracy. Crescent's plan is an elaborate medical rom-com. Crescent speaks to her first, getting a dramatic introduction. Charlotte is infuriated, asking where an assistant gets off talking to her. Crescent starts crying, realizing he'll have to work his way to the top after all, with slightly fewer steps. Xenos speaks next. Charlotte thinks Xenos is lacking in manners. Xenos says it's fine if she doesn't want the surgery, as anyone would be scared to have their face cut open. Xenos tells her the growth won't kill her, so there's no need to force it. If left alone, the worst she'll have is a mark that looks like an old lady's face. Xenos adds that some people even get attached to their growths, giving them names like their pets. Hearing this, Charlotte opens the door and allows them to come in. She questions Xenos if the growth will really look like an old woman's face. The only way to remove it is via surgery. Charlotte acts up. Lord Fennel tries to calm her, but she refuses the surgery unless they can guarantee no scars. Xenos follows her to the veranda. Charlotte doesn't want him talking to her, as she doesn't want the air of the room fouled with his breath, a noblewoman's way of saying bad breath. She sees herself like the injured bird, unable to wear dresses or dance at balls, believing people will soon ignore her. Xenos asks her if she wants to get better. She refuses to answer, so he asks again if she wants her illness to get better. Xenos asks Charlotte if she wants to dance again. He assures her she will be alright once again if she wants. Later, Charlotte is lying on the bed, having been given a sleeping drug. Goldrun warns them to make the surgery a success or pay the price. Xenos decides to handle the surgery, having done one when he was a kid, which is a surprisingly low bar for facial surgery. Crescent realizes he picked the right person to be his big bro. Goldrun orders Crescent to perform the surgery because he was the one who healed Milk. Crescent is confused and shakes badly as he picks up an instrument for the incision, realizing he'll leave a bigger scar. Before Crescent starts, Xenos instructs Crescent to follow his whispers. Crescent follows Xenos' instructions. Upon opening the skin, they find the roots tangled with her nerves. Cutting them means cutting the nerves, which Goldrun stops, saying it will alter her appearance. However, leaving any roots uncut means the growth will return, likely stronger than before. Goldrun orders Crescent to cut it, prioritizing the complete removal of the growth for his reputation, even if it changes her appearance. Goldrun forcibly holds Crescent's hand and cuts the nerve. He immediately shouts at Crescent, blaming him for not following orders. Crescent is shocked that Goldrun forced him to do it and is now lying. Goldrun decides to take Charlotte to the Royal Hospital the next day to reconnect the nerves with his health transfer magic, which won't fully restore her but will be better than the current state. Xenos tells them not to worry, saying the nerves had to be cut because the roots ran too deep. Lord Fennel is listening outside. Xenos remembers Charlotte was scared but willing to trust them again, and as a healer, Xenos must answer that trust. Xenos holds the blade and performs the operation. The surgery is a success. Later, Charlotte wakes up and looks in the mirror. She is glad the surgery went well. Charlotte asks for the name of the second assistant with bad manners. A gardener tells her his name was Xenos. Returning to the Royal Hospital, Human and Xenos are moving bottles of Dr. Arnardo's experimental concoctions into storage. They don't know what kind of drugs they are, as Arnardo always says. Repeated experimentation holds the promise of new breakthrough, which is a very fancy way of saying they have no idea what these do yet. Bernardo asks Xenos about the surgery, believing Goldrin will think highly of him now. Crescent runs in, huffing, and informs Xenos that both of them are invited to one of Professor Goldrin's dinner parties. Human and Bernardo congratulate Xenos. Human notes that Crescent could be selected as an officer and that this is the promotion opportunity he's been waiting for. Crescent laughs, telling them he'll push them around once he becomes a big shot. The return of the friendless Crescent Human remembers, like a predictable pendulum. Xenos smiles at their cute teasing. Crescent confirms the dinner is tonight and he'll be waiting in the lobby. Human realizes Crescent has taken a real liking to Xenos. Bernardo is happy for Xenos. The risk Bernardo took in bringing Xenos into this matter is really paying off, and Xenos' job is almost done. In the evening, the dinner begins. Goldrin tells everyone that the hospital's current director, Lord Shalberd, will be retiring at the end of next month, so the election for the vacant position will be held soon. Their faction is the largest in the hospital, so they have more than enough votes. In addition, one of the 7 great aristocrats, Lord Fennel, has promised to spare no expense in his support. Crescent is really excited to hear this. He keeps on calling Xenos big brother, but Xenos keeps on reminding him that he is not his big brother. Poor Crescent calls Lily his little sister, but she also refuses to consider him her big brother. She acts like ice cold. Crescent tells her that he just has too many potential girlfriends to narrow it down, a polite exaggeration for none. She feels sad for him because all his girlfriends dumped him. Lily asks him if he did ask Uman, but Crescent does not understand why he would invite her of all people. He decides to stick like glue to Xenos. Just in that moment, Goldrin announces to all of them that those who are gathered here today are the chosen amongst all those in their group. They all drink in happiness. Xenos and Lily get to work. He knows a Fred went missing, but one thing he heard caught his attention. He goes to Mr. Bonds, who is already drunk. He asks Bonds about a Fred who was there in the last party. Mr. Bonds remembers Alfred brought him some water after he got hammered. Bonds considers Alfred to be a good guy. Bonds knows that most of these students don't pay him any mind at all because Goldrin tells them that he is a liar and to steer clear of him. Xenos finds this statement very strange because he does not understand why Professor Goldrin would do that to the person he gave the position of first secretary to. Lily brought some more drinks so that they can make Mr. Bonds to spill everything that he knows. Sometime later, Lily is serving him a drink because she knows when a man is drinking and a girl tells him how impressive he is, he will get full of himself and just keep talking. Anyways, he asks Mr. Bonds to tell what happened. That time a Fred brought him water. They went outside to get some fresh air. He takes him out to see if he gets sober. He decides to recreate the same situation as with Alfred and takes him outside. Mr. Bonds starts considering him as Goldrin and begins talking to him. He says to him that it looks like he has gotten in with Lord Fennel again. He laughs to remember the old day when 13 years ago is why he is who he is now. Xenos asks him to tell what happened 13 years ago. Mr. Bonds reminds him about that day when his life changed after getting nowhere with his research for so long. Lord Fennel's backing got him a spot as a professor at the Royal Hospital. He faints after spilling a lot of new things. Xenos feels like they are on the verge of something important, but he is not waking up, so he thinks they are done for now. Leaving him to the staff, they go inside where Carmilla pops up out of nowhere. She asks them to allow her to reveal this mystery to them. Carmilla tells them that Bonds' rambling gave her the gist of what is going on. She is confident in herself that no mystery remains concealed from her unparalleled intellect. On the other hand, the demi-humans are waiting for Xenos' return. They think they are going to turn into stone anytime soon if Xenos does not return soon. In the meanwhile, a lizardman happens to come there fully injured, who informs Zofia about Zonde, who is injured badly. While they were working, a pillar fell and it went through his gut. They think they need to take Zonde to Xenos immediately, but Zofia knows they cannot do that because in this way, they will ruin Xenos' undercover with a fake identity. Because this is an emergency, so Zofia decides to go to him and pay him double his usual rate. Carmilla informs Xenos about the day of the explosion 13 years ago, which was the day a man who had been an unremarkable researcher before that found his life had changed after saving a noble's life. Well, it is not a simple sweet story, as Xenos thinks that maybe Fennel got hurt and Goldron healed him. Carmilla believes circumstances are best kept secrets. If there was an explosion, they can assume the noble had been hurt fairly badly, yet the person he met seemed to be right as rain, so she asks Xenos if this kind of healing is possible. She questions Xenos if he really thinks Goldron could have managed to do it. Lily gets that 13 years ago there was an explosion and the aristocrat got hurt, but the person who healed him did not take credit for it. And when the person wandered off, Professor Goldron happened to show up and made it seem to the aristocrat that he was the one who did the healing. Mr. Bonds saw it all happen and used it to blackmail Mr. Goldron. It can be possible that Mr. Bonds got drunk at that dinner party just like today and spilled the truth to Offred. Then maybe he went into hiding because he was scared that Mr. Bonds would remember he told him. Lily is very happy of her detective abilities. In the meantime, Crescent comes to take Lily along him. After they left, Xenos is thinking about the other possibility. He doubted that Lord Fennel would be the only victim, a crowd of injured people, one of them looking more put together than the rest. To sacrifice other people to save one is just ridiculous. He wonders what would happen if anyone survived and it was a Fred. He probably would not accept what Goldron did. He wonders where in the world a Fred is. He decides decides to tell Dr. Bernardo what has been learned. He thanked her for coming to check up on him because she was worried, but she as usual denies it. As he leaves outside, he sees a lot of people gathered there. Crescent tells him that there seems to be some kind of commotion outside. Uman came to speak to Xenos, but the guards are not allowing her to enter. Xenos sees Zonde with other demi-humans, but because they don't have enough time to take things slow, they had no other option. Goldrun sees the demi-humans and asks them what those lesser creatures are doing at his mansion. He orders his guards to throw them out. Loaway sees Xenos standing there and asks him to treat Zonde. Goldrun asks Xenos about his relationship with the demi-humans. Zofia starts crying. She apologizes to him because she did not want to mess up with his plans, but Zondi looks like he is going to die. She begs him to save Zondi. Xenos ensures her to calm down as he will treat him. Goldrun gets mad on him because even after securing his path to glory among his faction, he is lowering to save the demi-humans peasants. He clears Xenos that if he goes, there is no coming back. He grabs Lily and goes from there. Crescent withdraws from the faction due to circumstances and goes from there. Zonde is lying on the bench. Xenos begins to heal him. Crescent runs to Xenos to help him in healing Zonde, but before he reaches there, Xenos has already healed him. Crescent starts regretting his decision which he made. Human heard what he said back then and is really very impressed by it. Zofia asks about Crescent from Xenos, who tells them that he is like a pesky little brother. The next day, Xenos informs Dr. Bernardo the whole thing. He believes Fred may take some action to get revenge there. He also decides to attend the party. Anyways, Xenos has completed his job here. In the evening, Uman along Crescent goes into his room. Crescent gets to know Xenos was hired by Dr. Bernardo to investigate a disappearance and normally runs a clinic in an abandoned part of the city. He starts wondering what he is supposed to do when Xenos will go from there. He starts crying abruptly, but Xenos is sure that he is adaptable enough to survive wherever he ends up. He does not find it a full compliment. Xenos breaks another news that Lily is not his actual real sister. Lily apologizes to him for lying and tells Crescent that she actually is Xenos' wife. Xenos tells him it is not for real. Anyways, he is also even seeing something that looks like a wraith behind that pillar. Carmilla also comes there to drink the wine. At night, Xenos is spacing out. He sits with Carmilla and tells her that he is from the slums and was treated terribly by the party he worked with, but the two of them don't treat him any different. Finding out people like that exist is a bit of a relief. He is quite sad to part with them, but he is used to say goodbye. Carmilla believes it is human life itself. He is surprised to see that she also makes sense occasionally. The next day, he bids farewell to them, but Crescent is crying like a baby. Dr. Bernardo asked Uman her to give him a letter containing the details about the teacher. She opens the desk in which they find a photo which is very strange. Professor Goldron recalls the magic tool factory explosion 13 years ago. He was heading home, his research having failed, and decided to save an aristocrat's life to gain influence. It was his first successful use of health transfer magic with a donor other than himself. Lord Fennel, one of the 7 great nobles, was an unexpected windfall. The only problem was that Bonds captured the moment on camera, leading to an endless threat. This is why Goldron gave him the position of first secretary to ensure his silence. At the dinner, Dr. Bernardo arrives to congratulate Goldron. Goldron asks if Bernardo is already trying to ingratiate himself with the next director. The time arrives for Lord Fennel's speech. He speaks of his relationship with Goldron, which began 13 years ago when he was seriously wounded. Goldron cuts him off, trying to stop the sad story, the origin story of his political career. Fennel calls Goldron very humble. Meanwhile, Human shows Xenos a picture they found, a photo from 13 years ago. The picture shows a young man lying on the ground, possibly a Fred, which would support the theory that he survived the accident. Human is also surprised to see a woman lying injured near him. At the party, Professor Goldron feels a burning ache. Bernardo reveals he mixed poison into the wine, considering poison and medicine two sides of the same coin, a philosophy only a deeply broken healer could embrace. Everyone falls unconscious from a toxin that causes loss of consciousness before gradually ending life in roughly 1 hour without intervention. Bernardo's own dose was slightly weaker. Bernardo is recreating the moment from 13 years ago. Goldron is shocked that Bernardo knows. Bernardo admits he had suspicions. Bernardo reveals that 13 years ago, Goldron sacrificed lives to save a noble, believing the others would die anyway. A Fred was among those people, along with Bernardo's fiancée, who survived. Bernardo ensured Goldron has enough strength left for health transfer magic. Preventing the poison's progression will require a fair bit of life force, and there are many lives here to use. Bernardo asks Goldron who he will sacrifice this time, his own life, Lord Fennel, or the voting members. Goldron asks for the antidote and promises to reduce Bernardo's punishment. Bernardo then poisons himself, leaving Goldron with one clear option: save his own life, proving the old adage, a leopard can't change its spots. Goldron panics, wondering whom to save. He starts casting spells, healing people because he believes they have a duty to serve him. Bernardo notes that Goldron's dose was weaker, meaning he had the most life force and could have saved the largest number of people if he had used his own health. Goldron maintains that not all life is of equal value, a convenient belief when own life is on the line. Human and Xenos arrive, having found the picture with Bernardo's former fiancée. Bernardo explains that he and his fiancée were rookie healers 13 years ago. She died in the explosion. The ruthlessness of death drove him to grief. If it had been a random accident, he would have carried on, but Fred's last words before vanishing were that it was not an accident and Goldrin was involved. The thought of his fiancée being murdered made him lose control. He hired Xenos mainly to find Fred. Crescent starts bashing Bernardo, a healer who is supposed to save people. Xenos answers the question Bernardo once posed: he would pick all of them. Xenos decides to save them all, even though his job is done, to prevent Bernardo from being guilty of mass murder. This is payback for the going away party, as Xenos notes people normally get sick of him and he gets kicked out, so this is a weird form of affection. Xenos asks for the poison details and immediately begins healing. Bernardo is shocked to see the effects of the toxin wearing off. Xenos intends to heal everyone until the poison runs its course. An endurance test between the poison and his magic, a high-stakes medical marathon. Crescent and Uman rush to help Xenos. He realizes the question of all lives being equal may have consumed him more than he knew, eating him alive like an unhealed curse. Seeing Xenos, Uman, and Crescent so desperate to save lives, he thinks they may have inherited his fiancée's spirit. He thanks Xenos for saving all the people he intended to murder. Xenos, tired as hell, asks for a bonus pay. Goldrin, who still hasn't been healed, starts commanding Xenos, but Xenos refuses his orders. One by one, everyone regains consciousness. Students ask Goldrin if he was going to sacrifice them. Xenos tells Goldrin to pay up for treatment. Goldrin refuses the massive amount Xenos writes down, but Xenos refuses to treat him otherwise. Goldron eventually agrees to pay whatever Xenos wants. Bernardo is sitting with Xenos and Uman in prison. Bernardo is impressed. Xenos got permission to see him so quickly thanks to Krishna from the Royal Guard. Bernardo says he didn't use a lethal toxin. He had prepared a drug to only temporarily paralyze the body, intending to lie to Goldron about it being lethal. He realized too late that an actual poison was in the wine. Bernardo suspects Fred may have been there that night, blending in among the collapsed healers and watching. He admits he didn't care if everyone died, including himself, once he realized the poison was real. Krishna is able to use her authority as vice captain to help get Bernardo released. Xenos finds it hard to believe that Offred survived Goldrin draining his life, and Bernardo agrees, raising the question of who the Offred he encountered was. The mystery is simply getting dressed in a new outfit. Bernardo suggests this may not be simple revenge for 13 years ago, and that Xenos, the one who foiled the plans, may be the next target. Xenos decides to avoid trouble, but will hit the culprit with a bill for the disruption, because every disaster deserves a costly invoice. Bernardo notes Xenos' promise to pick up all the coins meant saving everyone, including Uman, Goldrin, and himself. That night, the guide is on the roof, disappointed that Xenos interfered with the experiment. The guide wanted to see how Xenos thought and reacted in extreme circumstances. The guide takes off a cap, revealing a face. Guide has been covering himself in the vessel of Fred, proving that the villain always has the best disguise. The next day, Xenos is departing. Uman is sad that Xenos won't get credit for preventing the mass poisoning because everyone was half-conscious. No witnesses means no glory. Xenos is fine with it, having gotten his reward. As Xenos bids farewell to the Royal Hospital, Carmilla whispers that, after resolving one incident, he went on to get caught in another mess, like a magnet for mayhem. Xenos stops Carmilla from making more ominous declarations.